One of the best sessions of the day. So let me introduce Dr. Daniel Castro, author of Amazon bestseller and CEO of Neuro Business, US, Mexico, and Colombia, which is a medical doctor, and he has a postgraduate in strategic management, commercial management, and finance. And he has a master's in the neuromarketing in the International University of La Roja, if I'm saying it correctly, and MBA in business management from Europe, master's in applied neuroscience, King's College London, and professor of strategy management, Business School of Spain, member of the British Neuroscience Association. Please, let's welcome him on the stage.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. This is a huge pleasure to be here. This is a really source of happiness and joy to be here, joining you and sharing with you in Milan. So I have a very first question for you, and I'm going. Okay, thank you, my friends. I'm going to be here connecting with you, and many of you are actually experts in as speakers and as well as digital opinion leaders. So I would like to connect this function, this good-looking function, with the neuroscience and scientific evidence. But first of all, I want to give you 1 point. Let's play this game. I want to give you 1 point to the very first person that could say the name of this guy. Yeah, it's a physic, actually. Yeah, astrophysics. Okay. What, the name?
Hariharan.
No. You were so close. What's that? Neil? Yeah, Neil Tyson. Well done. Well done. First point there, right there. Vietnam, Pacific Asia. Right? All right. Fantastic. Well done. You know, Neil Tyson, this guy, is a very renowned, I think that is the best, the well-known scientific communicator around the globe. But do you know that this guy, at the beginning of his days, it was not widely known outside the academic sphere? Do you know that? Actually, Tyson faced a big challenge. Well, his knowledge was vast, but his message was not reaching the people. Actually, he produced highly technical and detailed content and publications, but with a tons of rigor, but it didn't resonate with the public. So he asked himself a question, and it was, how can you do to take the science out of the laboratory without losing credibility, So what, do you want to take the picture? All right, no problem. Okay, no problem. I can stop whenever you want. Okay, but Tyson learned something essential, and it is that you have to communicate in a way that people understand, but also enjoys. So this guy started to use daily life examples, metaphors, humor. The result, millions of followers and a global impact. So if you want to create this sort of deep impact and connection, probably you would like to get into your audience minds, into the brain evidence, real scientific evidence on how does the brain decide what to pay attention, what to remember, what conference is more sticky and worthy to be remembered. So let's go here, my friends, and we are going actually to see some scientific evidence on memory, on attention. But you know what? Many people perform conferences, many people publish on social media, but rarely, my friends, they stop to think about the scientific evidence on how the brain sparks interest. We're going to do so in this conference, during this lecture. It's going to to happen very fast. So we're going to seek for the brain's operation in terms of the images, messages, stories, and I'm going to share with you some scientific evidence so you can, put into practice in your daily life as key opinion leaders or as digital leaders. Okay, so let's move on to the field that is actually fascinating, and it is applied neuroscience. You can find those studies in PubMed, in scientific peer-reviewed journals, and you can find those insights. Very interesting because they are so practical. So let's move on. Every story has its beginning, and the beginning of this story started in 1990. I'm going to give you the second point to the first person that can tell me what soccer World Cup was played on 1990. Just raise your hand. Doctor. France. No.
Italy.
Where are you from?
Argentina.
Hey, man, okay. Where's the Italian team here? What happened? Italy, for sure. Italy, my friend. Italy. Okay, the second point. Who won the Italy 19... Wow, man, he's an expert. Yeah, wow. 2 points here, 2 points here. Very well. And then, this decade was declared as the brain decade. Did you remember that George Bush was in front of the Congress and he said, like, hey, I want to declare this decade as the brain decade. And some institutions, probably you remember, the National Institute of Health, the National Institute of Mental Health, and the library, the Congress Library, spent 10 years and tons of millions of dollars depicting how your brain, my brain, our brains work. How do we process information? What's the process behind saying yes to pay attention? And actually, we got some technology derived from this decade. The first device I want to share with you is actually the EEG machine. You know this device, don't you? Do you remember your neurology rotation as a student in the hospital? Epilepsy, HCVs, etc. And what we are doing with this device is to study interest, engagement, stress, relaxation, and emotional activation. So imagine this. Imagine that you are performing a conference and you put this EEG machine in the audience and you detect the exact moment in which the audience loses interest or gains interest or activates their emotional processes so you can adjust your message in terms of seconds, right? The second device I want to share with you is the eye tracking machine. The eye tracking machine is absolutely spectacular because this machine has high definition cameras tracking your pupil, and the result is a heat map with warm or hot spots that are the zones that you look the most, and cold spots that are the zones that you barely pay attention. So, you know what happens here? In one event, as this one, I put the device into a commercial global director, and she was so happy with it. But when we played the video, the hot spots were located at the pelvis of the speaker, So if I put you this eye tracker, you have to be totally straightforward and concentrated totally. I warned you, I don't know. And the third device I want to share with you is the fMRI. You know this device, actually. And we use this device to see which brain area are the ones that consume more blood flow. It is the reward brain area, it is the emotional pain area, it is the memory, the auditory, the visual, and so forth. So I want to share with you those technologies because the studies that I'm going to show you, when they come up, you probably will relate those technologies with the studies. So first of all, I don't know if you remember Dr. Kahneman and Dr. Kandel. Perhaps someone can remember those authors, well-renowned authors, and they developed a mathematical model stating that every second you spend here, or in social media, it results into 11 million of bytes per second of information entering through the senses of your audience. 11 million, right? You got it? But human brain is not capable of consciously process this amount of information. Actually, human brain only processes out of 11 million of bytes per second, just 40 bytes per second. So if you look at this in this way, if you have 11 million of bytes entering of information, and you just have 40 bytes processed, consciously processed, your challenge is major. Your challenge is outstanding. Because you know, physicians, doctors are so well educated. They can be looking at you this way, like, but in their mind, they could be anywhere, you know? Romance, action, taxes, you know, vacations, you know, gelatos. My dear friends, your challenge is major because you have a lot of knowledge. Your knowledge is also vast. For instance, Dr. Alejandro Concha, has actually just published a systematic review in antibiotics. It's worth to read it. Dr. Adriana here, she manages 70 pediatricians by herself, and she preserves totally her mental health with that. I don't know how, but she preserved it. So Dr. Flavio in Paraíba, he's actually deploying huge impact in preemptive medicine in Latin America, many countries, Dr. Flavio. Dr. Malik right there in Dubai. She's a pediatrician, an infectologist, and certified board member, and she has a lot of knowledge in infectious disease. I could be the whole afternoon telling you examples of each one of you. But what I mean is that your message should be heard. Your message deserves attention. So how does this work in the brain? We're going to look so. How does this mission of giving life to a presentation or social media post behaves? What's the structure of the story that it's correlated with a chemical change in the brains? We're going to do so. But we have to take a look of this round circle because Opella actually has developed this to help us. This is very practical, actually. These attitudes, 5 attitudes, would help you in order to connect with people. We're going to see it. Spontaneous, to show us the manner that we really are, without filters, without masks. T, straight to the point. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it concise, go straight to the point. As Dr. Flavio said to me yesterday, well, probably in social media, you don't have the time to perform a university class. You have to go straight to the point with clarity, be concise. Okay, be empathic, connect with compassion, and I'm going to join these two, altruistic, to do good for others. You know that doing good for other people is the best antidote you have to escape from imposter syndrome. Have you heard about the imposter syndrome? No, haven't you heard about that? It's an irrational fear to be surprised being incompetent in something. You have to be competent, but it is irrational. Have you ever been in an airport and you pass your handbag through the X-ray machine? Have you, do you get that? All right. Have you ever experienced this illegal fear, like, like thinking, oh my God, is it possible that I have a gunfire in my bag and there is nothing? You know, this is some sort of imposter syndrome. But when you are here in front of the people, this syndrome, due to the rise in cortisol and adrenaline, could diminish your capacities up to 50%. Actually, yeah, the people actually shake, they do not speak with clarity, and afterwards, the people are perfectly speakers. But the imposter syndrome could do that for you. The first antidote I want to share with you is to do good for other people. You don't have to worry about looking good. Because if you worry about looking good, your mind is going to be in this validation, non-conscious validation mode. Seeking for elegant words, an elegant speech, an elegant body language. But you are not going to be yourself. Instead, doing good for other people, it's going to result in your blossom, in your authenticity. Is the best antidote I can share with you about it. And be reliable, and you know what? It does not worry me, because you are an expert. We both talk about evidence-based medicine. So you are an expert, always with scientific references and so forth. So let's connect this with specific techniques I want to deliver, I want to share with you. Number one, spontaneous. First technique, use a hook. But it is not the hook, the social media typical hook. I want to share with you another science-based approach. Okay, this study was published in Neuroscience Behavioral Reviews 2015. And I don't know if you have been in a conference, maybe international ones, in which the speaker captivates you. Perhaps this speaker did not begin to talk about the main topic, but the speaker perhaps began talking about a rock band, a movie, a piece of art, but he or she magically built a bridge, a solid bridge that led straight into the core of the presentation. And you say, oh my God, what a good presentation. Do you remember conferences like this one? All right. So I want you to look at this study. And it is titled, Short and Long-Lasting Consequences of Novelty, of Surprise, of Deviating from the Natural Course, of the Predictable. It's kind of different, right? And you have three consequences. Number one, novelty can transiently enhance perception, so you get more attention. Novelty can increase arousal, so you get more attention. And novelty can elicit a dopaminergic response in the mesolimbic system. Anyone knows what's the function of the mesolimbic system? A cue, a hint. It starts with R. No? No clue? What's that? What's that?
Arousal.
With R.
Arousal.
Not with A, but with R.
Oh, the R. Right.
Mesolimbic system. Wow, Dubai. Well done, my friend. But let's say it louder. Dr. Malik, pediatrician, infectologist from Dubai.
It's a reward pathway.
It's the reward pathway. It's the reward pathway. So what I'm telling you is that if you surprise your audience, if you give them novelty, if you become less predictable, you are going to have reward. And Danny, hey, how do I apply this into my presentations? All right, remember this. The cortex zone in charge of the attention just loves novelty. Novelty, be unpredictable, a little bit unpredictable, right? All right, let's take the picture. A little bit. And my recommendation is that you probably would like to do that at the beginning of your presentation. So let me show you this. And why is this important? I want to share with you that human brain actually is always leaping ahead of what you are saying, because human brain, as this paper states, published in Frontiers in Psychology 2018 by Bully et al., human brain has this beautiful feature, and it is the cognitive prospection. What is cognitive prospection? Is the ability of your brain to fill the gaps in. The brain doesn't leave these gaps open. The brain actually fills them with heuristics, assumptions, with things that may or may not be true, but it fills them. It fills them. So when you start talking, let me know something. What do you think that happens if the public, the audience, is outguessing and it wins? I mean, like thinking, yep, I knew it. This was the thing that I was thinking that he was going to say. What do you think that happens with their interest? What do you think? Rises? If they guess correctly. If you became, as you, my dear doctor, if you became unpredictable, it rises. But if you became predictable, it decreases, right? It decreases. Okay. So, my dear friends, you have to combat this anticipation. Because otherwise you're going to lose your audience interest, right? You have to combat. And maybe you are wondering right now, how do I combat the anticipation? All you have to do, my friends, is to deliver a little riddle, a little puzzle, a little riddle. Okay, like this one. I'm going to tell you. What do you see here? My dear super marketing regional.
Lego.
Well, nice side, nice case. But now, more like child's. Imagination, please. What are you seeing here? Look deeper. A carpet. We are getting better. What else? What else do you see? What's that? Wow, that's inspiring, my dear doctor. Parabéns, inspiring. What? Oh, did it came from Philippines? Right?
Yes.
1 point.
It's a periscope.
Have you? Yeah, my friend. Yeah. 1 point for you.
Thank
Another
you.
point for Asia Pacific. Well done, my friends. Have you seen already the submarine? Yeah? No, you don't. You're like, hey, where's the submarine? Here, my friends. Here. The periscope, right? Good imagination, my friend. Okay, when you solve the riddle, when you solve the puzzle, is when you get the reward sensation, like the aha moment, like aha. That's the moment you are pursuing when you use a hook. Look this amazing campaign. Look this one. It's quite nice. And it says, pimples, acne, but this part of the picture is missing on purpose. And why? The reason why is that your brain is trying to fill in the gap of information. And in this process, you willingly hand over your attention. Solving the puzzle, solving the puzzle. So, I'm going to show you some examples, real-life examples. But for instance, if you want to talk about probiotics, Bacillus clausi, okay, imagine this. If you want to talk about the mechanism of action of Bacillus clausi and the shield effect inside the bowel, in what movie, in what book, in what series, all the drama was resolved by a shield, a protection? Can you think about that? Can you give me an example? Which one? Captain, oh man, what a creativity, well done. Where are you from? Argentina. Creativity, Argentina. Yeah, well done. Captain America, right? And perhaps you're thinking about other examples, other useful ones. Well, this is Persia. Do you know the Avicenna? Avicenna, Ali Avicenna, a famous physician. Pardon me, what's that? No, never mind, all right? Okay. All right, Avicenna had memorized the Quran, Imagine, I don't know, imagine to memorize the Bible by heart. Wow. And everyone told Mr. Avicenna, hey, Dr. Avicenna, how do you do to have such amount of knowledge in your head? And Dr. Avicenna just said, everyone. There's nothing special about me. Everyone could do that, and you just have to become receptive to knowledge. And we are going to talk about some neuroscience techniques that would increase your reception among the public to knowledge. Come on. So Avicenna and Persia was my hook. Captain America was your hook. That's better, a better one, really. Okay, but you got the idea. Technique number two. All right. Brain loves stories, right? You've heard that. But I want you to know a little bit of its physiology, because it has a very interesting one. Okay, let me tell you. This study published in the Neuroscience journal actually unveil how the brain mechanism of stories chemically change your mind. I'm going to tell you what. Imagine, you want to take the picture, right? All right, imagine the world 100,000 years back in the past, right? We didn't have internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have Netflix. We didn't have theater or radio, nor even television. Imagine that after, I'm going to pass, but please, I'm coming back. I'm coming back for you. No problem. Imagine what your ancestors did after a long day of gathering or hunt to get fun, and before laying down to sleep, please. What they did to get fun. What do you imagine? Imagine those guys, without television, without internet, without social media.
Storytelling.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh, wow, like I heard that in my
Storytelling.
head. Storytelling, that's correct. And I want to add to this participation two phenomena. Number one, neuroplasticity, which is the very capacity of the brain to change the structure and the function based on our experiences. And second, the Mendelian loss of genetics. So the result is that your brain, your actual brain, changes when it is in front of any story. And the thing is, you have very non-rational behaviors when you are seeing your favorite Netflix series, right? Have you ever surprised yourself making allegations with Netflix characters? Like, hey, don't do that, don't go by this dark alley, don't hang up, you know? And the characters, they do not exist. They're fiction. They were paid to do that. So why in heaven would you, as educated professional with many postgraduate programs, would be doing that? You know, allegations with fictitious characters. The reason why is a huge amount of emotional engagement, And it was explained in this paper. This is a milestone in neuroscience. Actually, this was published in Cerebrum 2015. And this study was conducted by Paul J. Sack. It is titled, Why Inspiring Stories Make Us React. Dr. Sack found the following. Found that when you are in front of a story, a cocktail of two chemicals is released in your bloodstream and in your brain. And the first chemical is oxytocin. The first hormone that spikes is oxytocin. Can you remember the roles of oxytocin? Come on, pediatricians. Yeah, contraction of what? Of the how to say that? Uterine contraction. Number one. Number two. What's that?
Blood.
Bladder, perhaps? Hey, that's it, my friend. Where are you from? From Brazil. Parabéns, meu amigo. Okay, breastfeeding, lactation.
Milk
But
letdown.
the one, my dear friends, Asia Pacific as well? Okay.
Milk letdown.
What's that?
Milk let down.
Yeah, milk let down. But the one that interests us is the final. Which one? Yeah, some sort, because you have serotonin, endorphins, the endorphins. What else? Thank you so much. Okay. It's the blue shirt that, that has this effect. But yeah, it's what we call in English attachment, emotional connection. Pediatricians, what you do with the baby stick to the mom, increased oxytocin. Okay, this is the hormone in charge of emotional connection. So if you want to have this impact, probably you have to think about oxytocin. And the second hormone that spikes, it is ACTH, which stands for, in English, come on, you can do it, Juan Pablo.
Adrenocorticotrophic.
Who said that? Who said that?
Adrenocorticotrophic hormone.
Oh, professor, well done. Adrenocorticotropic hormone, right? And it travels from your brain to your adrenal gland to increase the level of what? Cortisol, sorry. And? Attention. That's it, correct. Well done. Muy padre tu respuesta. Attention, just a little bit of attention, just a little bit of attention. So, if you structure your communication in terms of a story, you have oxytocin and ACTH. So you have emotional connection and attention, the same thing that you probably would need when you are here or in social media. So you probably are wondering, hey, Danny, come on, tell me how can I use that in my presentation? So I want you to remember your English teacher, your Portuguese teacher, or your Spanish one, all right? Or your Italian. All of them, or your Ukrainian, I don't know. All of them taught you something. The teacher said, hey, for a story to be a story, it has to have 3 parts. Come on. In Spanish as well. Inicio, nudo y desenlace. In Portuguese. Meio e final, tá?
Começo, meio e fim.
No, Italiano. I want to learn in Italian. Where's the Italian team? Come parla isso?
Ogni storia deve avere sicuramente un buon inizio, una trama vincente centrale e un finale avvincente.
Wow, I didn't catch that, but sound amazing, sound pretty romantic. Congratulations. That's it, that's correct. So, one of two. You remember your language teacher, or you see this study published in Frontiers in Human Neuroscience 2020, and you see that human brain recognizes a story because it has 3 parts, beginning, middle, and end. What happens? I want to ask you, what happens if you are told by a friend about the final part of a movie that you haven't seen, but you would like to see? What happens? Yeah, the spoiler. Do you like the spoilers? Yeah, who said that? Thank you for your contribution, doctor. And probably you don't. And my dear friends, that's exactly what happens if you start talking about your main topic. For instance, if you start talking about probiotic guidelines, the European or the American, I'm just start like this. Good afternoon, it is a pleasure for me to be here. We're going to review the latest guidelines of European Council on Probiotics. This results in talking about the end. And this is going to result in loss of interest. So Danny, how would that be? Okay, I'm going to show you. This study was published in Psychological Research in 2012, and it says something of common sense. And it is that everyone in your audience is seeing you from one viewpoint, themselves. the I of themselves, not a common we, not from yourselves, just themselves. So the perfect bridge is to start talking about something that people can see through their eyes, not yours, their eyes, okay? So I'm going to give you the persuasion formula here. It's quite simple, and it is a delicious cheese sandwich. Okay, this formula starts by, okay, beginning, middle, and end. The beginning would be, if you accept my suggestion, talking about the problem. What problem? The problem that you are going to solve with your communication, right? But not the, if you are talking to physicians, to faculties, you probably would like to think about the physician's problem, not the patient problem. We are all here for the benefit of patients, right? We study medicine because of that. But for this same reason, if you are talking to physicians, you have to think about the physician's problem, right? Not the patient's one, the physician's problem, right? Okay. Secondly, the cheese. What's the cheese? The cheese is what would solve the problem without telling them that you have it. Right? I'm going to do an example right now. And afterwards, the bottom breath, what's that? Your whole message, your conference, your post, your idea, your sharing inspiration, right? For instance, I'm not going to start the conference about probiotics with, I'm going to review with you the latest of the guidelines of probiotics, the European or the American. No. I'm going to start with the problem. Imagine that. You have pediatricians among the public, right? And you're going to talk about antibiotic-associated diarrhea, right? I want to ask you something. What's the pediatrician problem that would be solved knowing about what probiotic is useful in antibiotic-associated diarrhea? Can you tell me, please? What's the pediatrician problem? Not the patient problem, the pediatrician. Please, doctor, can we have a microphone here? I appreciate it. No problem, no problem. You're doing so great. Thank you.
Oh, I thought mom's anxiety.
Yeah, sure.
I thought as a mom, because the mom is going to be asking the doctor, like, when is the diarrhea going to stop? And then the pediatrician is like, I don't want to hear this mom yelling at me. That's what I.
Have you seen her eyes? Like, when is going to stop?
When is she gonna? Yeah, when is
Okay.
she gonna stop asking me to stop the baby's diarrhea?
Perfect. Do you remember your sorry about that, Dr. Alejandro. Do you remember your classes on a medical and a patient relationship? A phenomenon called transference, emotional transference? Okay. This amount of anxiety is immediately transferred to the physician, right? And you don't have to bear with all that burden. So probably, I'm going to do cheese, it will be useful for you to have a science-based, predictive way to know when the diarrhea is going to stop. So we are going to review the latest guidelines, European or American, about blah, blah, blah. Got it? Okay, if you got it, I'm going to test your short-term memory, okay? First question, when did the brain decade start? 1990, well done. I shared with you 3 technologies. Number 1, which one? Yeah, in English? EEG machine, Dr. Adriana, well done. The second one? Which one? What? Yeah. The eyes. What's called? That's the third one, right? The second one. No. You're that close. No. The glasses. Philippine.
Eye tracking.
What's that?
Eye tracking.
Oh, wow. Philippine is gaining another point. Congratulations, Asia Pacific. Another point, eye tracker. Do you remember that? The heat map, the hotspots, the cold ones? All right. And the third technology, come on. Wow, excellent. How many bytes per second? Wow. Okay, 11 million, right? Per second you are receiving through your senses. But how many? Wow. Come on, this guy is a genius, Juan Pablo, my God. All right. Okay, the other one. What are the 3 effects that you are going to gain becoming unpredictable, giving surprise, deviating? What's that? Number 1? Okay.
Having a hug?
What's that?
Having a hug.
That's marketing. You know, the aha moment, it's something that marketing applies. Yeah, the aha moment, that's correct. But in terms of physiology, come on. And you have to combat the anticipation by a hook, but 3 effects. I show you that in a paper. Arousal. Yeah, that's correct.
Arousal.
Increase arousal, number 1. The other one, the activation of mesolimbic system with a neurotransmitter. So famous. Which one? No. Which one? Yeah. Dopamine. Hey, this guy is a genius, come on. Dopamine in the mesolimbic system, and there's one lacking. The other one, awareness, okay? Mesolimbic system, and enhance what? With P. No, P, as in Paris. Yeah, wow, guys, well done, Asia Pacific. Then you have increase of arousal, increase of perception, and the activation, the dopaminergic activation of mesolimbic system, right? You got it. So use a hook. Number 2, stories. What are the 2 hormones you get? Oxytocin and? Okay. And it results into a persuasion structure. 3 steps for this persuasion structure. 3 delicious steps, actually. Okay, come on. Okay, I haven't heard you.
The beginning, middle, and end. Or
What's the beginning? What's the beginning?
Problem. The cheese
Whom?
and the solution.
Whom?
Sorry?
What's the whom? Whose problem?
The physician's problem.
If you are talking to
Yeah,
physicians.
or
if you are
the
talking
audience problem.
Yeah. And then you have?
And then you have the cheese, which is like the main topic, which is, for example,
Yeah.
the solution, and then the solution.
Okay.
Like the conclusion to everything.
The solution without telling them that you have it.
Yes.
You know, depicting in their mind
Yeah.
what would solve the problem, and then your central topic. That's correct. Perfect. Wow. Amazing. Okay, I have here some examples, my friends. For example, there's a physician here that from Brazil, he is making story actually. He's making history because he's doing huge and deep impact in preemptive medicine, in social media. He's a good-hearted man, and I admire him so much. He's the Dr. Flavio, which is right there. Paraíba, né? Então, then Dr. Flavio published this. Hey, what a crazy story. It's absolutely fantastic, no? Let me translate. Fulusequinho, an absolute adorable name for a kid. And 6 pediatricians, 6 of them, ate a Lego piece. Why in heaven would 6 pediatricians eat a Lego piece? A powerful hook, right? That's a powerful hook. And then he starts like, I'm going to translate, but I'm going to give you the word. Child sometimes eat strange things, strange bodies, right? And then it is not new that Fulusequinho, a kid, have been eating a Lego, right? Okay, but the question here is the following. It's going to get out through stools. It's going to cause damage. That's a problem, hook and the problem. Dr. Flávio, eu adoraria que você compartilhasse a história por detrás dessa publicação, por favor.
So I was in call in Brazil. I work at a telemedicine project. So I was on Thursday night waiting some reports from other hospital that ask help for us, and I received a report of a kid that he got a marble. Imagine. A marble, and this marble was in the X-ray in the transition of the stomach pylorus. We didn't know. So the colleague that was in a foreign land hospital asking me, what do I do? So I applied the guidelines, and these children had to be referred to Dr. Maro to take it with endoscopy because it didn't pass the pylorus of a 2-year-old kids, a marble that I estimated 2.5 centimeters of diameter. So that day, in Friday morning, I said, that's a content. Every time you access content in your daily life. So I started a story with the mummies about foreign body ingestion that resulted in this content that went very well.
Fantastic. Great example of hook, of the story, you know, beginning, middle, and end. And he's adding, you have to sum that, he's adding a call to action here. If this content help you save this content and just share it with your community or whatever you want, a call to action, an effective one. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, I have just 14 minutes, and I want them to be invested in the final part. And it is the M for empathic, for asking yourself, what would the public be feeling? What you probably would think that they are seeking for? And installing emotion. That's something actually inspiring, very practical, and you have to know that. And I'm going to give you the physiology behind. So actually, it was published in Nature. You know that Nature is a first-tier journal. And it was published this meta-analysis, a neuroimaging meta-analysis that actually explains how emotional signals affect your cognitive function. What is cognitive? It is decision-making, planning, rational thinking, memory, and attention. Decision-making, planning, rational thinking, memory, and attention. So it is all about emotion. Why? The reason why is that, first of all, this meta-analysis, after you read that, you will be totally clear that decision-making is a process nourished by non-conscious steps. Very fast they occur, and they are emotional. But I want to give you the physiology behind that. And first of all, if you take an fMRI, a functional magnetic resonance imaging of someone, you could state clearly that the part of the brain that processes the emotion is activated at first, and 8 milliseconds afterwards, then you have the activation of the cortex, the rational thinking. But I want to tell you, all the rational responses that you have among your public, among your audience, and your patients are influenced firsthand by emotional ones, by emotions. Not only that, the level of, retrieval, of recall is based on emotion. Can you remember what you were doing on the Twin Towers Day? Can you remember that? You probably were burning or something, right? What's in Twin Towers? Can you, doctor, please? I want to hear you.
I was in England. I was in England.
Oh, you were in England?
I was doing my pediatric training.
Oh, really?
And basically, when the first plane crashed, I ran to a room where the TV was on, and the kid was there in the room. And basically, within minutes, the second plane crashed. I could still remember it very, very clearly. And I could hear a lot of people in chaos crying next to me in England. and we didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
It is very, very fresh in my memory, and it's basically 9/11.
That's correct. Wow, what a memory. What a memory capacity, Professor. And yes, if you put emotion in place, you are going to have the fuel for memory. The fuel for memory. The fuel for memory. And listen to me. The thing is that emotional judgments, they are so strong, they are so actually intimate that they tend to be irrevocable. What you are actually installing in the public, in the audience, in terms of emotion, this is going to remain. Probably people, it's going to forget what you said, but people actually are not going to forget what you make them feel, right? What you make them feel. And the physiology behind this starts here with, the blue section. Who knows what's its name, its anatomical name? What's that? Oh, yeah, but I mean a wider section, and it starts with S, 2 words. No, with L. That's correct. Limbic system, right? Limbic system. This is the zone in charge of what? Emotion, right? Okay. So every smile, every scent, every greeting, every word, every video, it's going to activate at first limbic system. And 8 milliseconds afterwards, you're going to activate the cortex, the rational thinking, number 1. But you have to memorize those 2 words, somatic markers. It happens that your emotions do not remain in your brain. They are translated into tickle. Well, the scientific term is not tickle, but it is somatic markers, physical sensations in your thorax and your abdomen. And a nerve is in charge of this translation, and probably you would like to have this paper in your library, because this study was conducted by, check it out, Cognitive Neuroscience, Iowa University, Graduate School of Business, Stanford University, and Psychology Department of Southern California. Okay, what's the role of emotion in decision making? What they found was fascinating, and it is that brain actually uses somatic markers to take decisions, to make choices, So in your waiting room, what are the emotions that you are installing? With your images, with your words, with your videos. What are the somatic markers that you are installing? Please, you have to plan that. They cannot be randomly distributed. You have to plan that, and it is easy, actually. So I just want to take one example that actually inspires. Check it out. Your son is taking the medicine this way. Okay. I'm going to pass that. All right, I have run out of time, but I want to give you something. I want to give you, first of all, if you want and study, hey, Danny, please send me the story study, the other one, or how emotions work. You can write me to my Instagram account, and I will be more than happy to have you here. So I have to tell you, where's the Opella literature team, the Opella team? Okay, Belen, my friends, you have taken care of so much detail for us to be comfortable, for us to be here in Milan, in this fantastic venue. Please, a big clap for our friends of Opella. Thank you so much. Thank you.